Hi everyone, it's Patty the Quiet Sister. Welcome back to my channel. For today's card project, I am using Pixi Dust Designs Gingerbread House mug die and the reindeer mug die from Pixi Dust Designs, as well as Tailored Expressions Plaid Stencil. So to get started, I'm using my Altenew stamp wheel, and I tried the first stencil using a stencil brush, and it didn't work. The lines on the stencil would move, so I used my pouncing tool from Picket Fence Studios and some Rockin' Red from Catherine Pooler to get the first layer of stenciling done. If you have not tried this stencil, it is fantastic. It makes the most adorable plaid, and even though it blurred a little bit when I was using my blending brush instead of my pouncer, it didn't bother me at all. By the time we get the next layers on and everything, it looks really great. So just turned the stencil and created that pattern, and I am using Catherine Pooler's craft cardstock. So now I'm coming in with Deck the Halls, and we're just using there's only two parts to the stencil. There's the two lines here and then the part we've already used. So I'm coming in and doing the green lines, and just like the red, I'll do a horizontal and a vertical version of these two. So we'll just flip it over, line it up, and do it again. And if you haven't used Tailored Expression stencils, they have the little squares, so you can use those to help line up. Get a little ink in those squares, and then you use that ink to line it up every time. So now I've slightly shifted the second stencil over, and I'm coming in to create gold lines with Hero Arts gold paste. And it worked really well. It dried probably about 10 minutes. I wasn't putting on a big thick layer. So by the time I pulled it off, cleaned everything up, it was ready to go just in a couple minutes. So here I am. I did one side, and now I tilted my stamp wheel so that I could do it again, so that it's making like a tic-tac-toe pattern on my cardstock. So there we go, and I decide that that looks great. So moving on, I cut all the parts out for the gingerbread house and the reindeer mug, and I decided I wanted a front door for the gingerbread house die. So I used some brown cardstock, and I traced around the door trim to create the front door. Now I'm just coloring in some of the die cuts. Some of these are for the reindeer mug. That's the nose. These are the eyelashes and the eyes. The windows for the gingerbread house, that's my Copic E79 marker. But I had cut everything out. The white you see, most of it is Spellbinders glitter foam, and it's fantastic. It worked so well. It's an RV21 I used for the pink. I apologize, I'm coloring something out of frame right now. Oh, I am coloring the stripes for the candy cane in red, and I used R39 for that. And then for the windows, I used BG000. So now it's time to start gluing things together. So that is hot fudge on the top of my gingerbread mug. And now I'm gluing the candy cane. So I wanted the candy cane facing both ways. So I just flipped the glitter foam over and cut from the back instead of the front to do the second candy cane. So it's not a big deal to get the candy canes facing both ways. And it took me a second to get these ears and the head attached right. I wasn't just not quite lining it up before I noticed there are lines on the side by the ears to help line it up with the mug. And then it went on perfectly. And then I'm gluing in the hot chocolate on the reindeer mug. And then the foam. And the mug's foams are different. So one of them is a little bit higher stack of whipped cream than the other, and the swirls are different in the whipped cream. So I used the die that came with each set. I'm going to continue gluing everything down. I did decide before I put the antlers on that I wanted to darken them a little bit. So now I'm gluing on the eyelids and the eyelashes. Isn't that so cute? I just love how that is. And naturally just follow the curve of the eyes. It was really easy to put them in there. And now we're doing the nose, and I just went with a brown nose. Just wanted a normal reindeer. It's not a Rudolph or his descendants here. And then the ears, oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing the cheeks right now. When I did the ears, I left a little of the natural cardstock showing, thinking that would look good, and I put the ears on, and it did not look good. So I finished coloring the ears back in with my RV 11, or I'm sorry, RV 21. So now I'm going to add gingerbread ink from Catherine Pooler, just to make my mug look less like craft cardstock and a little more like a gingerbread cookie that was baked. And then I had taken my whatever was left on the brush and done the antlers for the deer mug in gingerbread as well, just to give them a slight bit of color. And now I'm gluing on the red stripes for my candy canes. Adding on the whipped cream. And it comes with this adorable sucker. So the sucker is cut out of the glitter foam, and then I just cut the swirl out of red, and we will put gloss glitter pen on it at the end as a finishing touch. So there I just created the door frame, and now I am doing the wreath. And there's so much detail. The wreath, when you cut it out, it also embosses, so it looks kind of like, it looks like pine boughs on it, and it also comes with a detailed bow. So when you cut it out, there's also embossing in the bow. And then the ribbon that goes around the wreath, you cut it out of whatever color cardstock you want, and there's sways in it and everything. It's really amazing, all the detail they get into these little bitty pieces. So the door that I traced and cut out is there along, and then along the edge we have the door frame, which we did to look like a candy cane. And so now the windows, I made the glass light blue so it looks like there's windows. So gluing on the frames of the windows, and then we'll glue those on the house. Isn't that so cute? I love this mug. I've used it for felt to make Christmas stockings. I've never made a card from it, and it was so fast, and it's so cute. Both of them, really. Both of them went on Christmas stockings last year, but not on Christmas cards. So now I'm going to add on the antlers, just gluing them behind the whipped cream. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do from there, how I want to do it. So gluing a little icing on the top of the door. That was cut out of regular paper, and then we just used gloss glitter pen on that to get the sparkle. So now I decided I wanted to cut a little slit in the foam of my whipped cream just to fit the sucker through. I'm going to glue the candy cane behind it, but I wanted the sucker to go through it like a stirring stick for the hot chocolate. And then I just took some purple tape and taped it to the back, and then I glued the stick onto the whipped cream. And I'm going to do something similar with the reindeer mug as well. So here I'm gluing the stick onto the whipped cream. So that turned out really cute. And then we're just going to glue a candy cane onto it as well. Okay, so that's done for now. So now I'm figuring out how big of a slit I need in the whipped cream on the deer mug and getting that cut through. And then similar to the lollipop on the gingerbread house one, on this reindeer one, I just arranged the candy canes the way I wanted them. And once I got it the way I wanted, I just flipped it over and then put some purple tape on the back to hold those in place, and then came and glued the candy canes down to the foam. There we go. So all the paper that I used, other than the Catherine Pooler craft paper, was from Spellbinders, leftover from a Santoline card kit that I had gotten a couple years ago. So now I am coloring sprinkles, which is part of the gingerbread mug die set, in red R39 Copic and green, which I believe was G09. And I have a little bit of tape on the back so that they didn't fall through while I was coloring. Some of them stuck to the tape, so I'm taking those little sprinkles and gluing them down, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Honestly, I thought I'd be chasing sprinkles everywhere and just have glue all over my fingers, but it was pretty good. Tweezers helped. So doing that, and the glitter foam works great with the Barely Arts glue. The glue sticks immediately. It's not, or not immediately, you do have a little play time, but the glue works great. I wasn't sure if there would be an issue. Sometimes when you use glitter paper, there was some issues, but it worked great. So getting the blue and the green on there, I decided those were the only two colors I wanted to do, keep with the Christmassy theme. So these cards have really limited colors, the actual mugs and that. The colors are kind of limited because I did such a bold background for both of them. I did a plaid background for both of them. On the deer mug, it'll be a pink background with the same colors stenciled on with the Tailored Expressions Plaid Stencil. Excuse me. And the same Hero Arts gold paste on it. It's just pink instead of craft, and I think it worked really well. So just getting these last bits of sprinkles on the cards, and I think it's just the perfect little touch. And there's like one green sprinkle left. I have to use it. There we go. So those are our mugs finished, except for a little, oh, sorry, had to put a bow on, except for a little glitter. So now I am creating tags to hang off the handles of the mugs. And so I am using Spellbinders Scalloped labels, and no, that's what I used to cut out the background. I am so sorry. Spellbinders Big Jolly Sentiments. So I did it on the craft cardstock for the gingerbread house mug, and I'm doing it on pink cardstock for the reindeer mug. And so I thought those were really cute. And then I used Simon Says Stamps dies, and I'm trying to think of the name, but there's like 12 dies in them, and it's just for cutting out labels, but I used it to cut out tags, and it worked really. There we go. The nested banners, I believe it's called. And then I used the Spellbinders Scalloped labels and tag to cut out my plaid backgrounds too. And then I'm using just a little piece to cut a hole, which I thought was going to be a small hole, but it ended up being a big hole, so I had to do a little fixing on that tag, but it worked out fine. I used a Hero Arts nested tags piece and fixed it. Yeah, there, I cut out that piece from Hero Arts. So, crisis averted. And then using that same nested banners die, the oval or oblong one, I cut out this tag and learned my lesson on the first one, so I used my crocodile to punch a hole in this one instead of putting a big hole in it by accident. So yeah, it's a Hero Arts nested tag die set that I used. And I used a rectangular piece to create the tag. So I'm going to glue the tags together. And then trying to decide what I want the background to go on, craft or gold. So it actually went on gold cardstock, which I think looks great. So I'm getting that tag put together. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the pink one. So now I'm rummaging looking for my red and white twine, which I found, and that is from Lawn Fun. I've had that for a long time, but it's just the right Christmas red. So ran the twine through the tag, and now I'm just tying it to the mug handle in a little bow so it hangs off the mug handle. And then I'll trim, fixing the bow to be the way I like it. And then we will glue the bow, the knot of the bow down so it always stays where we like it. And then we will go ahead and trim down the strings on the twine so that they're even. So now we're gluing out the stenciled panel that I made. And again, I cut that out with Spellbinders Scalloped labels and tag. That was new this spring and I got it on sale, which was really great. And then I will take some foam from the 3M huge foam roll and put it all over the back of the mug. And I do have to say the foam tape did not like sticking to the glitter foam, so on that I did have to, I think I did it off camera, but I did end up having to put a little glue on the foam strips to get it to glue to the glitter foam. And then removing the 80 pieces of backing. And then we'll get it centered on our card. So got that all lined up and glued down. I just love how that turned out. That is so fun. So that's going to go to one of the great nieces and nephews for sure. This one's going to go to my great niece who's going away to college. Or not my great niece, my niece that's going away to college. So getting that panel cut out using the same die that I used on the other one. And then it will be on a piece of pink cardstock for a card base. But we need to get that tag attached as well. So I went and found my crocodile. Realized that hole wasn't going to work. And so I'm adjusting the other hole. And it took me like 3 tries to get that hole adjusted to line up right. There we go. So I was able to get that punched out. And now we'll run the twine through it and do the same thing as we did for the other mug. Just get it tied together and then glue down the knot on the bow so that it stays the way we want it. Yeah, it wasn't laying right. I had to redo that bow. It just wasn't laying straight. You know what, that 3M foam really cuts well. I've tried other foams and the adhesive is so bad that it gums up your scissors, even when I use the Teflon coated ones that where it's not supposed to stick. But the 3M foam really cuts well. I have not tried the Altenew though. I do need to try the Altenew foam to see how that works. We're finally to the point where we can peel off the backing. All right, so we're going to cut down a card panel, add that and our mug to the card panel. And then we'll add our card panel to our card base. Just trimming it down a little bit because I wanted some of the white of the card base to show through so it frames up the whole design a little better. So I probably took 1/4 of an inch off all the way around. I didn't really measure. And the good old ATG gun. And there we have our finished products. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're just going to touch them up a little bit with some glitter gloss pens. And these were from Close to My Heart. I'm so sad they're no longer in business because those were my favorite. And it had leaked a little bit on the sucker, so I kept going back and taking some off the sucker. But again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Please forgive the allergy voice that appeared throughout the video. I apologize for that. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed these videos. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.